Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV, and thanks for joining us for another edition of For the Record St. Albans today. Happy to have St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith alongside today. We're taping the show on Wednesday, March 31st. Well, Tim, the weather forecast doesn't excite me too much with maybe some snow coming in tomorrow, but hey, it is, that's not the most unusual thing in the world. But
I was going to say, what do you care, Richard? You're headed south.
Yeah, lucky me. Not a big deal for me. Boy, I feel bad. This recent warm weather, I mean, geez, Burlington had, a record high of 73 a few days ago, but boy, sugar makers, that couldn't have been good for sugar makers.
I've been thinking of them a lot lately. Yeah. Had a few conversations just on yesterday, I think, spoke to one of the larger Fairfield families that does sugaring, and they're only about halfway to a normal crop.
That's what I'm hearing from the folks I've talked to. That sounds like about a half crop.
And trees are starting to bud, and so I don't know what the long-term result's going to be, but I don't think it looks too good.
No, it sounds like a tough year. And Franklin County, I may have mentioned this stat, and it's my stat, but going back in the old days, talking to folks like Danny Brannon, or whoever I got the info from years ago, but the line was, well, Franklin County produces about a third of the U.S. crop, now in fact close to about half the U.S. crop, and Franklin County is about a third of Vermont. So if that was anywhere close to accurate, the amazing stat to me out of Franklin County is the country, the U.S., maple syrup production, I think we're talking double digits, maybe 10 to 15% of that out of Franklin County, Vermont. If what I was told long ago, a third of a third, is anywhere close to accurate.
That doesn't surprise me a bit.
That's a pretty impressive stat.
It's become big business. I mean, the amount of syrup produced has grown significantly over the years.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of capital invested, and they depend on these crops. So it'll be interesting to see what the price of syrup does. While you're speaking of that, Richard, I would share that. We just got some information from Cecile Brannon regarding the Maple Festival, which isn't going to happen, but they are doing a number of activities. And one of those is they're doing an opportunity for people to order maple products, maple donuts, cotton candy, maple candy. You can order that online, and then I think the last weekend of this year, April 30th, or excuse me, this month, April 30th, there's a drive-through pickup where you can pick up your donuts and cotton candy. And so all the details, I know the chamber will be promoting it, as will FCIDC. So we'll have that information. But and then they're doing a viral photo contest and a few other things just to, when things get back to normal, we'll be 2 years without the Maple Fest. I mean,
that's tough.
Almost 3 years if you consider from when we stopped to begin. So I think people will really be looking forward to it when the time comes. That's
talk about pent-up demand, you would think. In fact, Tim, you make me think, dairy, is Dairy Day, the Vermont Dairy Festival in Enosburg Falls, is that still on? I
haven't heard. When I was dealing with the maple stuff and getting that information.
I thought of that the other day.
That crossed my mind as well.
I don't think I've heard it was canceled. I guess maybe they're still monitoring the situation.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
Well, we talked dairy, not that it's, well, I shouldn't say it's not a St. Albans City issue with the co-op. Boy, dairy industry continues to be just taking a real beating, huh?
I saw the prices were dropping again.
Yeah.
15 something.
Wow.
When the break even, I don't know what it is today, but it used to be $20.
Yeah, it used to be about 20.
Yeah. So it's I feel for the farmers. I mean, they've got to be efficient, but no matter what level of efficiency you are, if you're losing $5 a hundredweight, it's tough to make that up.
Yeah. Of course, St. Albans Cooperative Creamery merged with Dairy Farmers of America a couple of years ago. It sounds like the co-op itself physically is still in pretty solid shape, but it's tough when many farmer members are just kind of hanging on.
Yeah, the stat I think I've shared on this show before is in 2002, the co-op had 602 members.
Yeah.
And 20 years later, they're down below 350.
Is that right? Wow.
So and that's not a farm stat across the state. It's just membership for the co-op, because they do have members in New York and
Yeah.
a few in New Hampshire as well. So
Yeah. A number of dairy farms in Vermont I hate. I just hate it when I see that figure. It used to be, who knows how many thousands,
Thousand plus,
700 maybe or something?
now,
Yeah, something like that.
I think 600 now.
I'm way high
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Wow, that's tough. We're over a year into the pandemic, of course. Well, some concern. I mean, the governor's certainly sounding pretty upbeat, talking about things he thinks returning at least close to normal by July 4th. But boy, some concern, especially about younger people
Yeah, I saw that
starting to
on
get, infected with the coronavirus. So there's still plenty of concern about it.
I saw that on the news last night.
Yeah.
I can't help but think you take one step forward and two back.
Yeah.
It seems like every time we make some headway, whether it's in the vaccines or in the number of cases, something, a different variant pops up,
Yeah.
or in this situation, the infection of the youth population.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you keep thinking you're going to normal, as you said, normal would be July 4th, but I'm not so sure if that's going to be the case now.
Seems a little optimistic to me at this point. I hope the governor's right.
As Governor Douglas was on 620
I
when I came in.
heard him a little bit this morning.
I enjoyed listening to
Yeah.
Governor Douglas.
Yeah.
And he was just saying, which was good news, he's been asked to sit on a task force regarding the border opening.
Boy, that's good to
Yeah.
hear. Oh, really? Is that right?
Yeah, so it was him. I'd shut the car off, but it was him and two. I don't know who else from the U.S. side, but and then a couple individuals from the Canadian side. So there'd sounded like a 4-member board, but just the fact that they're talking about it, because
Good.
it just goes month to month. I don't think anyone sees sun on the horizon relative to a firm date as to when that's going to open.
No, I'm glad to hear this talk. The person I see on the news periodically, Gary Douglas. Do you know Gary Douglas, longtime president of the Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce? But of course, for Plattsburgh, maybe especially, just a huge issue with the border closed. And I know he's been pressing, saying, "Hey, let's at least start talking about it and see if we can. There's something we can do about this." So hopefully at some point this year. And I'm glad to hear Amtrak getting a little attention now, trying to bring the Vermonter Ethan Allen Express back. And of course, in my case, as I've said a bunch of times, I hope I live long enough to be able to walk to the train station in St. Albans and get a nice ride to Montreal. So I hope that issue, as I suspect it will, when the border reopens and Amtrak comes back, I hope that issue gets some more attention. Anyway, so St. Albans City, Tim, downtown kind of coming back to life a little more with at least the vaccine situation getting better? Or?
I think so. I think with some warm weather, not consistent, but with some warm weather and the people being able to eat outside or sit outside of the restaurants, that's gradually increasing as the weather improves, and that's huge. It just gives that vision of activity, improved activity. So we're looking forward to that. I said on prior shows as well that some of the businesses had their best Christmas season or one of their best. We actually have not. I want to make sure I check this before I speak, but I don't think we've lost a store or a storefront downtown.
Really?
During the COVID, One Fed did close their doors, but that was in actually January or February prior to the COVID announcement. So
I know Frozen Ogre just moved from Main Street to Kingman Street.
Yeah, to Kingman Street.
Really?
Exactly.
So no losses, you think?
I don't think so. What a Yarn, run by Katie Tesser, that she moved before COVID as well. She did more of a homestead type of store, so I don't think we've lost any. And there's still we think there's when we get back to something similar to normal, that there'll be some activity and some interest in the downtown area.
Good to hear.
I say that you did have Evelyn's Bakery well, she closed and Nourish picked up that. So I don't consider that closed. It was more of a new ownership scenario.
Right, is this a vegan operation?
Yeah,
did I
that's
hear?
a
I
vegan
didn't-
operation. Yeah.
Interesting. That'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how they fare.
Yeah, I popped in a few times. They're very pleased with where they're at right now.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure some folks will miss Evelyn. Will Evelyn still do stuff from her home?
you know,
do you
I don't know. I asked the same question, but
Yeah.
no one really
Don't
seemed to know. I thought that was the original plan, but I don't know if that's proven to be true.
Interesting.
So-
Farmers Market is set for a May opening. That's solid, sometime in May.
It's usually in the middle of May, May
Mid-May or
15th.
so.
They have a new director, from what I understand, or they were looking for a new director. Excuse me. And I don't know who that is yet, but as far as I know, it's still moving forward.
Huh.
I've had some discussions about other activities in the park.
And concerts are, Marty Manahan ably, of course, subbed for you last show, and I think maybe after the show, just talking to Marty on the way out, but our concerts are coming back. Is that a given, or?
Yeah, I think we're focused on that. It's not a full schedule like 8 weeks, or I think we're looking at 4 weeks,
Huh.
and mostly after July 4th.
Yeah.
And there's I just had an email today from one of the council persons asking, someone was inquiring about Shakespeare in the park.
Huh.
We also had Vermont Symphony Orchestra looking for a date
Wow.
to perform in the park as well.
Huh.
So there are a number of requests and activities. So the expectation is there will be a number of activities in the park.
Interesting. I asked you about Dairy Day, Vermont Dairy Festival, Bay Day situation. Is that not nailed down right
Yeah,
now?
I don't know if it is nailed down. I know the town is taking it over. So the chamber had run it for years. Now the
Okay.
town is going to run it.
Huh.
The town is moving forward with their car show and their farmers market.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they do move forward with Bay Day
Bay Day.
on the normal weekend, which would be that July 4th,
All right.
whatever Saturday falls close to July 4th.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we've got a fair amount of things to look forward to this summer.
Yeah, the city, we're looking at doing the car show. We're not sure. Kathy Manhan organizes that. We're not sure if it will be a static display like it had been prior to last year,
Yeah.
or doing the parade where they meet. Last year they met at Energizer and then left there and did a circuit throughout the city and town down to the bay, and that seemed to work pretty well also. Kathy and I spoke about potentially doing both, have the static display, and then at the end of it, they'll line up and do a drive through the city and town.
Huh.
So we hope that's moving forward. I think
And it sounds like the vaccination front, that sounds like the best news, and St. Albans has certainly been right in that. It sounds like Collins Burley, things have been going pretty well out there. I know I got my second shot downtown in the new building across from City Hall, but at least the vaccination situation seems to be moving along pretty well.
Yeah, there's multiple sites, obviously, with the pharmacies and Walmart and the sports complex and Congress and Maine. So there's a number of sites doing it.
Yeah.
My wife actually oversees the Congress in Maine, and I think they were up to 250 vaccines the other day.
Really?
Which,
Wow.
they've perfected the format, and they've been able to increase the numbers regularly. So I would share with people, if anyone listening, that I would not hesitate to reach out to both clinics at the complex and Congress in Maine to talk about getting on a waiting list. I mean, if your name if you haven't been able to register, they're very cautious about not wasting vaccines. So at the end of the day, if someone doesn't show or two people don't
Interesting.
show, they want to find individuals to fill those vaccines, and
Yeah.
and age doesn't really matter when it comes to that point.
Interesting.
So both, I was on a waiting list for the complex, and I got a call the other day. I wasn't able to go, but so you need to be able to react fairly quickly.
Yeah.
if they call you, you got to be on site for 10 or 15 minutes later. But there's that opportunity if someone feels they want to get in a little bit earlier, I would encourage them to get on the waiting list.
That's good. I've got my kid's 17, so he's even getting close to being eligible. I guess April 19 is 16 and older can sign up. So at least that, that part of it's going seemingly pretty well.
Yeah.
Putting on your Franklin County Industrial Development Corp hat, Tim, businesses coping pretty well. Again, labor shortage always an issue. Is that kind of still?
It's probably the biggest issue right now.
Yeah.
And I've said it for a few years now that it's going to be an issue for decades. I mean, we're going to see business focus more on automation. You're seeing that in some, in convenience stores with kiosks. You see that Walmart and the supermarkets that, the self-checkout.
It's funny you mentioned I love my yellow legal pads. I was in Walmart 2 days ago to get a bunch of them, and there was just one. Yeah, I like dealing with people and stuff, and I had just one checkout counter where there was a person, so I was in line for a while.
Yeah.
Most people do their own thing, but yeah, that just in Walmart it was fairly busy, but it was just one person doing the old style checking out.
Yeah, so I think, we received the news of Mylan closing down their print division out in Swanton.
I did hear that. I mentioned that last time.
And
any effect on the St. Albans operation with that?
no, not really. They're going to be open till August, so I think there will be an opportunity for some of those employees to fill some spots in St. Albans. The Department of Labor did a rapid response where they go to the business and educate employees about opportunities, and they put together a list of jobs that almost every manufacturer had 10, 12, 15 jobs that were needed to be filled.
Wow.
We've heard of manufacturers closing lines down because they can't find help. I heard a situation where the pine cone up in Berkshire is.
Which, of course, they never opened. They've been closed for a long time. Are they hearing they're not?
Well, they've been trying to find a cook or a chef
Really?
and serve staff, and I don't know where they stand. I just know they were calling around trying to drum up some employees.
I love the pine cone, and I was surprised. That seemed like the perfect business to. And I said, "Why are they?" And I figured, so just probably a labor issue.
Yeah, I think it is.
Boy,
So
you're right. That issue probably never goes away in
no,
Vermont.
and as I've shared about, not to be a pessimist, but if companies, whether it's retail or manufacturing, cannot find help, they're only going to put up with that for so long, and then they'll relocate. Many of these businesses have other, they're consolidated to the point where they have different opportunities throughout the country and even the world, and they can pull a line out of some of these operations and relocate them. And it may get to that if we can't solve the issue.
Of the major companies you're dealing with in Franklin County, you're not hearing everybody's at least hanging in as well as they can at this point?
Yeah, no, I don't think we're totally to that.
Yeah.
But, there's some frustration that they just can't fill the required positions. They're using temp services. They're using you've seen a banner up by the complex for Ben and Jerry's. There's yard signs I've seen for Perigo.
I've seen Barry Callebaut. Yeah.
So they're working hard to get the word out.
Wow.
But I would say we're almost making it too easy not to work.
I was about to. We've talked about that before, and I'm not sure Governor Douglas might have gotten into that this morning on VMT, but just with another round of unemployment benefits, for a lot of folks, hey, why, if I'm making more money by not working, it's going to be hard to convince me to work. I mean, that's an issue.
I think I saw the stat was if your benefits, the level of benefits allows you, if you were to break it out, equals a $17.50 per hour job.
Is that right?
And we have our state legislature who is looking to add additional unemployment benefits. So
Yeah.
the one that's going around, excuse me, the one that's going around now is being pushed is for everyone who's on unemployment, each dependent in your household gets another $50 per week.
Huh.
So if you have 3 dependents, you're going to get your unemployment, and then you'll get another $150 for those.
Yeah.
Supposedly that starts after the federal benefit stops, but still it doesn't.
Wow.
There's no incentive for someone to go back to
Yeah.
work.
And I know the governor actually, as I think about it, was asked a couple of press briefings ago about the key work requirement when you're filling out your weekly unemployment. And for a long time, I guess still there, you don't have to look
Didn't
for
have
other
to.
jobs. And he
Didn't
was
have
asked about that and said, yeah, but at some point, we'll go back to that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's frustrating. It's, we just make it too easy to not to work.
Yeah, not to say these haven't been tough times for a lot of people, obviously. But,
Right. But I would say that if there's someone who
boy, if you
is
want a
unemployed,
job,
there's plenty of
Yeah.
opportunity to get a job.
yeah,
Plenty of opportunity. I mean, we've heard from multiple businesses that just cannot find help.
Yeah.
Good jobs, good pay, good benefits,
yeah,
and I think the key, one of the solutions, if we were to talk solutions, is we need to do a better job of getting into the high schools and educating graduating seniors about what opportunities are out there.
yeah,
It's more than, packing groceries or working at the movie theater. Yeah, I mean, there's jobs that, and nothing against those. I mean, I don't want to start anything, but,
Sure.
that we're talking jobs that pay a good wage with benefits that someone could live off from,
yeah.
so.
Legislature's given a lot of attention in recent sessions to the minimum wage issue. It almost strikes me, and you would know this far better than me, it almost seems like, and do they really even need to deal with that issue? I mean, I'm
I don't
seeing
know.
Burger King, McDonald's, I mean, it seems like we're getting not too far away even from 12, 13,
Yeah,
maybe
no, you're exactly right.
$15 an hour.
15 is not going to be an issue when,
Yeah.
I mean, and they're looking at installing that 2 or 3 years down the road. I think
Yeah.
2025 is the number I keep hearing. Everyone's going to be at 15 anyways by 2025. I mean, the market's going to take care of itself.
Right.
If you want good employees
Yeah,
and you want to keep them, you're going
Yeah.
to have to pay for them.
yeah,
And there'll be a few out there that might be below the 15,
Yeah.
but not by much.
yeah,
And I've always argued you still need to bring some skill sets to the employer. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a matter of just paying 15 for the sake of
Yeah.
paying 15. You gotta bring some skills that are going to benefit the employer.
Yeah.
Whether it's customer service or transferable skills, whether it's in the construction industry or manufacturing. You got to bring something to the table
yeah,
at the same time. But with that said, I would say if there's individuals willing to show up, be responsible, show initiative, employers will train
yeah.
to keep them. So,
Yeah, no, if anybody, it just seems like if you want to work, it shouldn't be too hard to hopefully find a pretty decent job these days.
I would say, and maybe this leads us to our next conversation,
Yeah.
Richard, is that one of the recent stat I heard for one of the larger employers is that 40% of the job applicants, fail the drug test.
Is that the drug test issue?
The drug
Really?
test,
Is
so-
that right, 40%?
40%, and it's usually based around marijuana.
Right,
And we have,
which of course is now legal in.
right, so it's legal,
Huh,
but for some of these corporations,
right,
it's still
Interesting.
taboo on their drug test.
right. Interesting.
So that's what we're facing, and I saw the paper there. We're going to have a presentation to vote on the cannabis, having cannabis in the city.
I saw the Messenger had a story on that yesterday.
So we're going to have a presentation.
Huh.
This individual, Jack Nichols, who I've had conversations with,
Yeah.
will be coming before us and presenting.
Huh.
the paper asked me. I am not a fan of it.
And again, he'd like to do a retail cannabis
Yeah,
operation?
So we'd go to vote, and the
Right.
general public would vote as to whether we want, like Richford on.
Richford and Montgomery voted, Richford rejected it,
Yeah.
Montgomery approved it at town meeting day.
So that's basically where we're at. We didn't do it on town meeting day, so there may be a special election that would happen if he gets enough signatures. I just don't, I think we have enough issues to deal with without having,
Yeah,
and it's not, if St. Albans doesn't do it, I get it, that we're not gonna,
yeah,
people will go someplace else.
yeah.
But
Have you got a feel for how do you think that vote would go if you put that up for a vote in the city right now? Have you got a feel for that? Think it would be rejected or?
first thing, it all depends on the turnout.
Sorry.
Who's gonna feel
Right.
like it's worthwhile to get out and vote or go through the process.
Yeah,
I think if you had a good turnout, I think it would be denied and turned
Yeah.
down. I think for the most part, St. Albans is probably a little more conservative,
yeah,
older population.
yeah.
So I think it would probably be rejected.
Yeah, I would
Would be
tend
my
to
guess.
agree. Interesting. So
But-
we'll see, may come to that.
If it gets approved, it gets approved.
Yeah.
Like I said, if we don't do it, St. Albans Town might do it, Swanton might do it,
Yeah.
Georgia might, I mean, there's many different options where if someone wanted
Yeah,
to purchase the cannabis, there'll be plenty of opportunities.
yeah. Tim, I get Peter, Congressman Welch's schedule. Seems like he's making a lot of rounds, talking to municipalities. Well, St. Albans City, are there some decent bucks you'll be getting pandemic-related from the
Yeah,
feds?
no doubt. There's two situations, Richard. You have, as you read this, you'll see that there's money going to each municipality.
Yeah,
And
like the old revenue sharing days
Right,
comes to my mind a little bit.
exactly, yeah. So St. Albans City is to get 670,000, I think, and that's from the municipality portion. And then what they did was, Vermont's one of the few states that doesn't have a county form of government. So they have allocated a number of funds for counties across the state for infrastructure and other needs
Really?
as well. Because we don't have a county form of structure, that
Yeah.
money, which I think is $9 million,
Huh.
is going to be divvied up between all the towns on top of
Really?
your six
Really?
cities, 670.
Wow.
And that amount for the city, rough estimate will be twice again the 670. So we're going to get 1,350, 1,350,000 on top of our 670. So we're going to get close to $2 million to utilize for infrastructure and other needs related to, bringing back business.
That's right. And that's got to be used for that. That can't just be, we're going to lower taxes this year a
Right,
bit.
right.
It's got to
Can
be
be
used
used
for
that.
something.
You do have a time frame. You have till
Gotcha.
2024 to use it,
Wow.
where there's a sort of,
Just to tell you, we're down to about 1 minute
oh, we
here.
are already. So just quickly, where there's a little glitch in the system is those, when you talked about communities, the village of Swanton and the village of Enosburg doesn't get any money.
Okay, it's
because
just a
they're
town.
Just a town.
Gotcha.
And whether those towns choose to share it with the villages, because the
Yeah.
villages have all the infrastructure. They got the power, the water, sewer, but they're not getting any of the money. The discussion at the governor's office is that they would probably divert some of the county money to the villages.
Wow.
So,
Oh, we could knock off another half
I know.
hour easily, but I appreciate your presence. St. Albans Mayor Tim Smith joining with us. I'm going to be away for a little bit, but we'll be back with another show in the not too distant future. And thanks to producer Roger Lindelof for doing all the hard work. I'm Richard Cowperthwait. Thanks for watching us on Northwest Access TV. See ya.